The hangar door groaned. 4 armed enforcers stepped in. And the cat cub beside her didn't hiss. It whispered one word. Mama. The observation hangar of Wayfarer's wake always smelled like cold metal and recycled oxygen. Clean enough to pretend space was civilized. Stale enough to remind you it never really was. Dr. NORA ELLISON stopped noticing the smell somewhere around month 10. Now she sat cross-legged on the deck plating. A small coil of fiber cord in her hands. Watching the smallest terror on the ship try to win a game. Not a soldier. Not a raider. Not a weapon. A cub. It looked like a tiny cat. But no Earth animal ever had fur like that. Black and soft. With faint blue specks scattered through the coat like a night sky. As it moved, the specks shimmered. As if stars were caught under the fur and didn't know how to escape. Its eyes were bright amber. Too smart. Too focused. Nova tried again to pounce the floating training drone. The drone beeped and bobbed. Drifting just out of reach like it enjoyed being chased. On paper, Nova was listed as a narc-felid juvenile. A void-born predator species. Small. Fast. Silent. In reality, Nova was a child with sharp instincts. Too much confidence. And a stubborn obsession with winning games she didn't yet understand. The NORAs came from a heavy-gravity world called Noctis Vale. The air there carried toxins that could drop most species in minutes. Their bodies evolved to breathe it like perfume. Their claws could score metal. Their reflexes were unfair. Their reputation was worse. A year ago, 2 narc-felid raiders cut through a Federation patrol like it was paper. Weak ships split open. Boarding teams vanished in corridors. The kind of footage that made bureaucrats invent new words. Like containment and specimen. Because saying child felt too human. And now one of them, one small alien cat cub, was squeaking in frustration. Because the drone kept drifting away. Nora smiled despite herself. Try slower, she said gently. You don't have to win every second. Nova's ears flattened with offended intensity. I win, she declared through the translator. Then she leaped. Missed completely. Skidded on the deck plating in a dramatic tumble of paws and tail. Nora bit back a laugh. Nova rolled onto her side, stared at the ceiling. Then announced very seriously. Floor cheated. Of course it did, Nora said. Then the hangar doors groaned again. The sound sliced through the warmth in Nora's chest like a blade. She was on her feet before she consciously decided to move. Stepping between Nova and the entrance. A motion that had become instinct. A habit built from months of quiet pressure. 4 figures entered. At the front was Enforcer Seth. A Talary, with skin like polished stone. And eyes that caught the overhead lights. And returned them as thin, cold glints. Behind him came 3 subordinates in tactical gear. Moving like people who expected trouble. And wanted it. Nora felt the air shift. Seth, she said. You're not scheduled. His voice carried the crisp tone of someone reading law from a screen. Dr. Ellison. Federation Directive 19 Kappa. The narc-felid juvenile is to be transferred immediately. To Research Annex ORPHEUS. Nova padded to Nora's side. Tail flicking. Posture alert. The translator clipped her voice into a bright, childish cadence. I am not transfer, Nova said. I am Nova. Seth didn't look at her. Nora's hands curled into fists behind her back. She had known this would come. It had hovered at the edge of every quiet day. The Federation's fear. The whispers. The requests for data. The polite pressure for access. They didn't see a child. They saw a future threat. They could dissect into safety. Nova is protected under the Sapient Refuge Covenant, Section 8, Nora said. She is under my guardianship. Guardianship, Seth repeated, like the word tasted wrong. Humans cannot bond with an OSA. They are solitary killers. Their social structures are primitive and violent. They were solitary, Nora corrected, past tense. One subordinate shifted forward. Broad-shouldered. Armored. Impatient.
Fawn.
The kind that liked simple answers and simpler violence. This is pointless, the VORN said. Secure the asset. Don't call her that, Nora snapped. The VORN ignored her and reached past Nora's shoulder. Nova didn't retreat. Instead, she tilted her head slightly, studying the VORN's gloved hand, with unsettling focus, like she was solving a puzzle, and had already decided the pieces were flawed. Then Nova spoke again, softer. Mama. Nora's throat tightened. She remembered the first weeks after the rescue. Nova cornered in a storage bay. Wild-eyed. Ready to bite shadows. Nora had spent months teaching her a concept. The Federation insisted predators didn't understand. Choice. It's okay, Nora whispered, without turning her head. Stay calm. Words first. Nova's amber eyes stayed locked on the VORN. He take me. Nova observed, not angry, almost curious. Away from you. The VORN's hand closed around Nova's forelimb. Quiet, the VORN growled. Creature. The hangar went silent. The translator didn't soften what came next. Mama teach me choices, Nova said. You choose wrong. What happened after took 2 heartbeats? Nova moved with the efficiency of a species built to survive storms. Predator reflex. Warblood precision. Filtered through a human's insistence on restraint. She didn't slash. She didn't bite. She tapped. One sharp strike to a seam in the VORN's armor. Another beneath the collar. A third to a nerve cluster Nora didn't even know existed. The VORN crumpled like his bones got tired of holding him up. He hit the floor hard. Unconscious. Breathing. Alive. Fine fractures spidered across his armor where Nova struck. As if the plating itself had been shamed into breaking. One of the other subordinates swore under their breath. Seth's hands snapped up. An energy weapon leveled with a soft whine. Stand down, he ordered. Nova stepped in front of Nora. Her fur shimmered. Those blue specks brightened, turning her small body into a moving patch of night sky. The hangar suddenly felt smaller, like the walls remembered what fear was supposed to be. No, Nova said. Not a threat. Certainty. This proves our concern, Seth said, voice tightening. She is dangerous. She is a child protecting her family, Nora replied, stepping beside Nova. What would you do if someone tried to take your child away? Seth's eyes flickered. Calculating. Afraid. Offended that the question had teeth. Nova's tail swayed once. I had 1 minute, Nova said conversationally, like it was a game. To ask you leave us alone. Nora's stomach dropped. A minute, Seth repeated. Nova nodded. I know 17 ways to stop you, Nova said. Not kill. She paused, then added brightly. Mama said mercy is stronger. The remaining 2 subordinates exchanged a look. One of them, slimmer and quieter, an Atolian with a rifle held carefully, slowly lowered their weapon. Smart, Nora thought. Very smart. Seth's grip tightened. The Federation will not tolerate. Then the Federation should update its protocols, Nora cut in, voice steady now. Because you're not looking at a monster. You're looking at a species learning something. You didn't think they could learn. Seth glanced at the unconscious VORN, then back at Nova. Impossible, he said quietly. Nora gave a humorless laugh. You're standing in a hangar with proof. Nova leaned closer to Seth, head tilted. Do you want to see the other 14? She asked. Some are creative. The Atolian made a small sound. Maybe a nervous chuckle. Maybe relief. Seth's posture shifted. He wasn't stupid. He brought 4. He lost one in seconds. No blood. No death. He could escalate. But escalation meant a report. And a report meant someone asking why an enforcer tried to seize a refugee child from her legal guardian. Without tribunal review. After a long moment, Seth lowered his weapon. Not all the way. Just enough to signal reality had won. He gestured sharply to his team. "Retrieve your subordinate," he said. The remaining officers dragged the unconscious VORN toward the door. Seth followed, slow. Like leaving meant losing. At the threshold, he paused. "This isn't over," Seth said. Nora met his eyes. "For you, maybe." The door sealed with heavy finality. Only then did Nora realize her legs were shaking. She sank onto the floor. Like gravity remembered she was human. Nova immediately curled around her. Small body pressed close. Star-speckled fur warm against Nora's hands. Nova rested her head in Nora's lap. With a gentleness that didn't match her reputation. "Mama," Nova asked softly. "I do right." Nora let out a breath that sounded like a laugh and a sob. Fighting for the same space. "You were perfect," Nora whispered. "Perfect." Beyond the viewport, stars drifted in endless silence. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was adjusting to a new truth. Humans didn't just survive predators. They taught them restraint. They taught them family. They taught them mercy. And that terrified the Federation more than claws ever could. Because a weapon could be destroyed. But a pack that chooses mercy on purpose. That could change everything. If you felt that moment in your chest, don't leave yet. Hit subscribe right now on Survival Arena HFY. Because the next story is even more savage. Like this video if you want more HFY stories with real stakes. Share it with a friend who loves space stories and powerful endings. And comment one word for Nova. Mercy or monster. Your comment decides the next upload.